back on Poke Nation. Look who's in from Phoenix. Flew all the way. You don't even stay for the games?
There's a lot of meetings Thursday and Friday and then part of Saturday. I went out there Wednesday night and I came back late Saturday night just to be able to watch the games. So
you flew back here to watch the games?
Yeah, I did. So I watched them with my son, and it was good.
Strange. Very strange. And it was too cold for you?
It's interesting. We talked about this before, the camera started rolling. I was shocked. I lived in Vegas for 3 years and California, so I was anticipating the 85, 90 degrees, great sun. It was actually cold.
You lived in Provo, Utah.
I know, but I'm telling you, it was. It's funny. I obviously threw a jacket on because of meetings, but I threw a sweater in the bag at the end. I'm like, you never know. And thank goodness I did. It was cold.
Oh, come on.
I was missing Louisiana. I was missing the spring in Louisiana.
Well, back here over the weekend, I don't know if you heard this. Everything was falling apart, it seemed like. We had people running for anxiety pills in town.
Yeah. I heard.
The Twitter was blowing up with your coach leaving. And he was never going anywhere, was he?
You never know. But I think that...
Way to throw cold water on that. You never know.
The great thing is that Coach and I have an unbelievable relationship. We've been open and honest from the first conversation. We have very, very transparent. I heard all the rumors too, but, he and I had, very frequent conversations in those 48 hours. And, he wants to come back here. He feels like that we can do something really, really special. I think that, he loves Lake Charles. He loves McNeese. He really believes in what we can build here, and I'm happy to have him back. And knock on wood, the carousel's still spinning around with Calipari going to
what do you think
Arkansas.
Of that? You went from Kentucky to Arkansas. You're a basketball guy.
Well,
did you see that coming?
I did not see that one coming. However, I'm not surprised.
It makes sense when you think about it, but
it's hard to stay 15. I mean,
yeah.
It's hard to stay that long anywhere as a coach because at some point in time, big Blue Nation, Kentucky was disappointed. They didn't make, deeper runs in the tournament the last few years, et cetera, et cetera. And, you probably, you can say what you want, but he probably hears that too. And, but now he resets his clock. He's going to make $8 million a year at Arkansas with a guaranteed $5 million a year NIL package. I mean, it's
you guys did your own NIL deal a week and a half ago.
We're continuing to push NIL. I'm really driving NIL for our athletic department.
But you're my sources say you have record numbers coming in for NIL.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's easy to have record numbers when you're basically just starting out. This thing is 2 years old, so not even 2 years old. It's a little over a year old right now.
But this is all fresh here.
Oh yeah.
But when you're at Kentucky and you've been donating for year in, year out, year in, year out, and you don't win, you want to see something for your investment.
100%.
That's what I'm saying is their expectations, your expectations are we're just getting started.
Right.
And everything's fresh and exciting. Theirs is we've been at it for a while. Where's our return for our investment?
I think that's fair. I'm sure that's that's been talked about. I'm sure that look, Kentucky expects to win. It's a program that is, you can make an argument. It's has the most tradition, maybe except for Duke or Carolina, of any.
It's in the top 5 easily.
100%. It is the bluest of blue bloods.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say it's UCLA, Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina.
And I don't think UCLA is what UCLA used to be.
No, it's not.
But Kentucky obviously is an unbelievable job. They're going to be able to get really probably whoever they want. But I think that people ask me, in the last 12 hours, are you surprised? On the surface, yes, but then when you take a deep dive into it, and you're Calipari, and you've been there for that long, you've won a national championship.
You see the sense in it.
Yeah, and you're like, and now I'm you're not happy with me anymore, so I'm just going to go down to a rival and let's see what happens.
And let's see and if I beat you, now you're really not going to be happy with me.
100%.
Okay, let's go to Kentucky because you're an AD.
Mm-hmm.
You can't miss on this now because you kind of didn't want him. Mm-hmm. Do you go Dan Hurley? Dan Hurley doesn't seem to make sense there. I don't think Bryce Drew makes a lot of sense there. Do you go Billy Donovan? Do you try for a Billy Donovan? Do you try for a Rick Pitino?
Instead of throwing names out, I will just tell you that if you're at Kentucky, you have, number one, big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
You have to have someone with enough clout and ego, if you will, to understand what Kentucky is and be comfortable in it and embrace that.
Yeah.
So those names that you mentioned, I think that all of them would be able to have success there. But to go get somebody that, like when they hired Billy Gillespie, is fish out of water.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I like Billy, and I think Billy's a really good coach, but it wasn't a good fit.
You got to have a good
fit. The personality, the persona, it's a.
Maybe the toughest job in college basketball.
It's a hard one.
But you also, as Kentucky, you can't have them say no to you because you said Cal Perry leave. Now suddenly you look a little weak if people
100%.
start saying no to you.
But here's the thing too, and is that in today's world of NIL, what made Kentucky and Duke and Carolina, all them so great for 100 years was the fan base, the tradition, the facilities, all the amenities. In the NIL world, that doesn't mean as much.
No.
And so if you're talking to a kid, would you rather go to Kentucky or Arkansas? Well, with the commitment of NIL with Arkansas, kids are like, it's just a different world. So, and I say it all the time, as if you're an administrator now and you're not driving NIL and you're not, understand it, embrace it, you're going to get left behind because it is college athletics
It is the game
today.
right now.
Exactly.
In fact, we just saw that with Joe Charles going from Lafayette to here.
Mm-hmm.
Is people ask me, well, how could he do that? Because this is NIL, facilities, this is a better program right now than UL.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. This is the best basketball job in the state of Louisiana.
I agree.
And now, does LSU make more money and all that? Yeah. But to win basketball games with our facilities, our fan base, all those things, you check them off, this is the best basketball job in the state of Louisiana right now.
Hard to believe. When we come back, we're going to talk softball with James Landreneau after this.
Whether it's an injury case, a property case, or a business dispute, our lawyers are at the top of their game. Ask anyone who knows us. At Veron Bice, we don't enter popularity contests. The only ratings we care about are the verdicts we've obtained for our clients. Ask anyone who knows us.
Serving the community of Southwest Louisiana since 1954 and a loyal supporter of McNeese State University for over 30 years, Southwest Beverage has provided scholarships to students, supported athletic programs, and sponsored the Banner Series since its inception. We pride ourselves on being the premier beverage supplier in Southwest Louisiana, offering an extensive portfolio of beer, spirits, and non-alcoholic beverages. We're Southwest Beverage, and we want to say thank you for your support.
Ever since I was young, I've known what I wanted to do. Sure, I had some guidance along the way. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But eventually, I had all I wanted. Family, career. It went by fast. Now I'm here. Retirement. And thanks to sound financial planning, it will be all I hoped for. And our children will have a secure legacy. For me, retirement is the next great chapter in my life.
Ferdinandson Financial Group. Let us help you make a plan.
If you're frustrated with your bank and feel like this when you leave, make the move to Lakeside Bank. Voted best bank in the People's Choice of Southwest Louisiana. At Lakeside, the sun is shining, we have the best personal banking, and our customers are always smiling. Find your way to a brighter financial future. Bank happy. Bank Lakeside.
Welcome back to Poke Nation. Coach Landreneau, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
I
for
appreciate
sure.
it.
Thank you.
Well, I know
That guy
you're-
hasn't been on all year.
I know. Well, he's been a little busy. He just keeps winning games. It's kind of, well, Coach, listen, you're in the thick of it right now.
Yeah.
Team's playing really well. We're sitting at first place. So talk about the team, talk about kind of where we're at, tell Polk Nation where you think we are, but more importantly, what do we need to do to finish strong and get back to, to an NCAA?
Man, that's a good question, man. I wish we had that bottled up, huh? That's some tough ones. Look, our team has showed some resiliency all year long. They're a tough group of kids. They always feel like they're in the fight. That's what you really appreciate them. We had to overcome some tough injuries, and with Phillips being out, Ordman, Vallejo, obviously, it's been tough for us. But we had some young players that are stepping up and playing really well. Lexi Dibley and Sam Mundine, 2 freshmen. Bella Perez had to step in and start catching for us as a freshman, and been doing a good job. I felt like. From the coaching standpoint, it's never good enough. Like you feel like you had some opportunities to win some quad 1 games that we kind of let slip away from us. But, just trying to learn from those things and make sure we get a little better. I think, for us to finish, boss, I really think, Heath, consistency, on both sides of the ball. I feel like that's where we could get some improvement. I feel like there's days we show up, I'm like, oh, man, this is a really good postseason team. Yep. Then sometimes we just don't match that intensity, and that's just the youth sometimes playing in. So that's what we're trying to find out as a team. They're aware of it and just trying to bring a little bit more intensity every single day.
So, you're playing some freshmen at some key places, obviously, and you alluded to the youth. Why? Obviously, from a talent standpoint, they're obviously good players, but what has been the key to having these freshmen be able to step up, like in this program? It's hard. Yeah. You play freshmen out there and there's an expectation with this program. Why and how, what do you think is allowing them to have this success?
Yeah, first of all, I credit our leadership on the team. I think Mariana Torres and Christine Marino and Emily Phillips have done an exceptional job. And even Ashley Vallejo, not being able to play, has done a great job mentoring them, holding them with the standards or talking them through their learning curves as freshmen and kind of building. I think that stuff started in the fall where our old upperclassmen did a really good job of mentoring them, and good thing they did, because now now they're having to step up and play. And I think that's what one of the players said. Even Briley Ford playing at third base, she kind of spoke up and she said, I feel like I'm ready to play because of what Riley Bouvier has done for me. She takes me out there on my own, explaining how the process works, and I think that's been the key for us is the leadership in the locker room.
Have you ever had a situation where you've had your 3 and 4 hitters be freshmen from almost the get-go?
That's a really tough question. Off the top of my head, I don't think so. I think back and maybe 7. No, I can't remember that. I really can't. It's been a long time.
Yeah, that is kind of, you don't get early in the year. You didn't get as much consistency out of them as you do now. Yeah. But also the filling in for the injuries. How long did that kind of take for the team to re-gel again? Because you not only lost players, but you lost leadership in that spot.
Yeah, it's one of those things where traditionally pre-conference play we've always played a lot of variety of players. So I think no one was real shocked by it. So that part worked out well for us. I think it's just that in-game adjustments to where when you're failing, as a freshman or a younger player that has been in that situation, when you fail, you think there's something wrong and not realizing it's just the ebbs and flows of the season. This sport, two-diamond sports is such a roller coaster if you stay stuck on results. And that's been the hardest thing for our team, is to get them caught off of just the results and get them to buy back into the process that ultimately we think gives us the best chance to be successful.
Over the weekend, you swept Lamar.
Yeah.
You've won 10 straight conference games.
Yeah.
People are used to you having a little more success in the bigger games, though.
Yeah.
Is that the hardest thing, is getting over that hump? Because you seem to be back in conference. You're kind of in a comfort zone.
Yeah, I don't know about comfort zone. I mean, every game feels, for our message, we try to portray it different. Every game's a championship game, and that's what we try to talk about. I want you to have that mindset that this is every pitch is a championship pitch that wins or loses. And I think we're disappointed because, we had some teams that we didn't do as well. We had some chances to win against LSU and UL, and we feel like we didn't play that well. I think that was the disappointing factor. It wasn't that we lost a game to those teams, it's that we could have played better. And that's what you hope we grow for. What matters is the end, right? Is can we get better and make a run at the end?
Well, that's the, I used to say this when I coached basketball, was like, freshmen, once they get into February, they're not freshmen anymore,
Correct.
right? So all that matters, everyone wants to talk about and remembers of how you end. So it goes back to this, is what do you need to do to play your best softball in the last month or so of the season?
Yeah. Obviously, I think consistency in the circle is going to be big. I think Shaylin Sanders has done an excellent job, and she showed that she can pitch against big games, and be in there. She gave us opportunities to win. She gave us opportunities against OU and LSU to win. And so can we build up around there? But I think Shaylin Sanders is the key for us just to keep growing and get better and give ourselves some chances to make a run.
When we come back with James Landreneau, we're going to talk about Poncho, her offense, moving your power hitter to the leadoff spot. Always an interesting thing. When we come back on Polk Nation.
Whether it's an injury case, a property case, or a business dispute, our lawyers are at the top of their game. Ask anyone who knows us.
Welcome to Nogales Mexican Cuisine and Bar, where every dish is crafted with fresh ingredients bursting with flavor. Make your date night unforgettable with our authentic Mexican dishes in a cozy and unique setting. Experience our warm and welcoming staff dedicated to ensuring your dining experience is nothing short of exceptional. Unwind at our bar with weekly drink specials perfect for any occasion. Nogales Mexican Cuisine and Bar, where great food, people, and drinks come together.
Ever since I was young, I've known what I wanted to do. Sure, I had some guidance along the way. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But eventually, I had all I wanted. Family, career. It went by fast. Now I'm here. Retirement. And thanks to sound financial planning, it will be all I hoped for. And our children will have a secure legacy. For me, retirement is the next great chapter in my life.
Ferdinandson Financial Group. Let us help you make a plan.
We're back with James Landreneau, softball coach. And Coach, you did it before, but you put your power hitter at the leadoff spot.
Yeah.
Why do that, and what do you get out of it?
And, a couple things is we felt like people were pitching around Poncho. So one thing is, if you're going to pitch around her, we feel like we've stacked good hitters behind her. She's 10 for 10, 11 for 11 after this week on stolen bases, so she can move around. It gives it, and more often than not, your leadoff hitters can get about an extra 30 at bats over the course of the season. And we feel like, she's our best hitter right now, so why not bring her to the plate the most often? And so just it forces people to pitch to her, I think, so she's going to get better pitches.
Yeah, well, Coach, obviously, injuries are part of sports.
Yeah.
You had two really, really key injuries that are season-ending, basically, and that they had surgery. Talk a little bit about that. Talk about the young ladies that had to have surgery, and what does their future look like after?
Yeah. So Ashley Vallejo, had an off-season surgery. Kind of didn't come back well from it, so had to have another surgery, kind of get her meniscus fixed and some cartilage issues. So she's going to be done for a season. She's going to take a medical, hopes that she could come back next year and be at 100%. She wants to play and be at 100%, which is totally understandable out of the career she's had for us. She's been a tremendous stronghold for us throughout the season. So that obviously, we're looking forward to having, all the experience she's had since she's a freshman, postseason success. So that was, you feel for the kid, because she put in a ton of work this offseason to get herself ready to play. Same thing as Erin Ordway open weekend. Man, Erin had done a tremendous job of working, just getting herself physically ready to play. Had some things she wanted to improve and did everything was asked of her. And open weekend, freak accident, slides into second base. When she goes over it, rolls her foot, and end up having to have surgery on her ankle. So she's done for a year. She'll be another medical redshirt for us. And, recently Emily Phillips, and we still don't know where she stands on coming back this year or not. Same thing, freak accident, rolls it over. She's in a cast right now. So those parts, but, what's been really good about them, he says they've really found a way to be a part of the team and really help our team and involved in everything.
Well, I think that the thing that's obviously, and we kind of joked about it, but winning is hard.
Yeah.
Okay. As a former, winning game, it's hard. And what you've done and the program you've built here, it takes a lot of work, but it's also this year, in my opinion, to see those key members being out. You lost Whitney, to graduation. So it's basically you're relying on so many new kids and still having this level of success says a lot about the culture in the program that you built, right? You bring these young kids in, but there's an expectation. I think that's the biggest thing for me that I love is that, there's an expectation that you've set. Talk a little bit about the culture and how all that, now, obviously, we could talk about it for 20 minutes, but talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, culture is everything, right? Culture is the expectations, the standards which you live up to every day. And that's what our players have done a good job of. If we have clear-cut standards on how we're going to act, how we're going to perform, how we're going to practice. And the number one thing is, the first thing we talk about is life's going to come after us this way. This year. No, I don't know how. Injury, death, family, memory, whatever it is, life is going to come after. That's how we handle that. That's going to be the deciding factor. So when things come after us, the term is, how do we overcome? This is what this team has done really good. When we have adversity hits, it's not, oh, crap, adversity. It's how are we going to get through this? And that's kind of the mindset, and that's what's been passed on by the seniors, the leadership, and past players that have been here. So it makes my job a lot easier when that's the mindset of the locker room. And I think that's what kind of keeps us moving in the right direction.
Looking forward, there's obviously, it looks like another showdown between you and Southeastern. You're 1-2, they have a game behind you. That's what was predicted. The two differences in philosophies at the start of the season is they got a lot more wins overall, but you played a lot tougher competition.
Yeah.
How do you look at that and say that prepared us for this, even with a young team, and not lose that team to kind of the record?
That's a good question. You never know until the season's over if it works or not. That's the tough part. You do what you believe is the best thing for your program. Right now, we believe that playing those games, we have a good enough team that we felt we could have won some of those games and put ourselves in a good RPI spot to take some pressure off of having to win the tournament. More importantly, making the finals or regional last 2 years, we want to get over that hump. So trying to be in those situations, in regional type environments, so we can learn how to overcome, and so when our kids get there, they're not blown away by it, or say, hey, we've been in this situation before, this is how we need to get better. So that's been the mindset, and our players want to play those games. That's why they come here. That's why we would get the recruits. They want to play games where they're going to be challenged. And so it's one thing, you're talking about culture. We talk about being a competitor. Competitors want to play against the best people to see how they measure up.
For sure.
If you just want to win, schedule less opponents, it's easier to do so.
And you also don't lose people in the transfer portal again. That seems to be the biggest kind of statement about your culture, doesn't it?
It does. It shows, we hopefully we create an environment where people enjoy coming to work. If you could do that, people are excited. They buy into the bigger picture. They also learning about, how's this going to prepare me? It's female sports, right? They're not going to make a living, a lot of these ladies. And so it's, how can this better prepare me for life after the sport? So they buy into that.
When we come back with Coach, we'll get his final thoughts after his big trip to Phoenix, where he said it was too cold. We'll do that after this.
Whether it's an injury case, a property case, or a business dispute, our lawyers are at the top of their game. Ask anyone who knows us. At Veron Bice, we don't enter popularity contests. The only ratings we care about are the verdicts we've obtained for our clients. Ask anyone who knows us.
Well, we're back. Obviously, softball's going, gal. Baseball had a weird weekend in that they played really well. They just didn't get enough hits, but Lamar's a good team. So, all right, you got Gatsby this weekend, but before we get to Gatsby, we'll finish with that. What do you think of women's basketball this week?
I thought it was awesome. I really did, and I think that if they
is it sustainable, or was it all Caitlin Clark?
I do think it's sustainable. I
not
think
at that level.
Probably not at that level. I think I think Caitlin Clark is a generational type player. But when President Baker came out, and I think it was earlier today, and said that in 24-25, NCAA women's basketball is now going to be able to get units. So now that's a game changer for women's basketball. So now, you have another revenue generator. Okay, I love it because now it ups the ante, and there's going to be a higher expectation to win basketball games on the women's side too, which I personally think is good for the game. I think it's great for for women's sports in particular, but I think that this is a great start. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, well, one thing it does, it makes, as we talked about earlier, it makes the investment in it make sense more because
100%.
there's more revenue at the end, there's more value at the end.
Right.
All right, let's talk about your big event.
The
People-
Gatsby,
people
baby.
swinging from the fences.
Oh, it's gonna be
people,
unbelievable.
Drunk
Yeah.
and disorderly conduct all over.
You're gonna be there.
Solomon and going, I don't think. I'm not going to be there.
come on. You're gonna be there.
We've talked
You're gonna
about
be there.
this. We've talked about this.
You're gonna
and
be
I
there.
can't go. My wife's
It's
out
good.
of town.
It's going to be great. Listen, we talked about this off air. It is a lot of work. It takes a ton of time, effort. It really, truly should be one person's job full time because there's so many moving parts, but it is going to be phenomenal. It is the KPLC says it best. It is the party of the year. It is the who's who of Lake Charles. It's sold out in record time. The entertainment is going to be even enhanced. The experience is going to be enhanced. And I'm not on Facebook, but I promise you this: when you turn on or flip on Facebook on Sunday, you'll see it is 100% the party of the year.
Oh, brother. All right, so I don't go on Twitter. But I went on Twitter this weekend because of the whole Will Wade, Arkansas, blah, blah, blah thing. I found out that I was a ghost, that I wasn't a real person,
Social media.
that I was an idiot. I didn't know I was a ghost, and that I have no value because I only have 130 followers.
You don't have a blue check.
I don't have a blue. I don't even know what a blue check is.
You gotta
What
get
is a
with the
blue
times.
check?
That means you're verified.
Oh, well, I am myself, but for guys like you now that have to deal in this world because this is where the athletes are going for stuff on Twitter and that. How weird is that to see McNeese trending with all these other big name schools?
Hey, listen, it's great. And people ask me all the time, you're worried about look, coach isn't going to be here forever. And I want coaches to come here and be wanted, right? If you're going to come to McNeese and you're going to be here for 2 or 3 years and you kill it and you move on to a bigger, opportunity, I'm all for that. I mean,
but what does it mean for you to see your McNeese with Arkansas, Calipari, with all these names linked together? That can't be a bad thing.
No, and but that's been the point all along of, like I say all the time, regionally dominant and nationally relevant. We are becoming nationally relevant, and it only enhances our brand of the athletic department. But that's what I like. You always want coaches that want to be wanted. I want, look, same thing. We, football turns around and we have a great year or two and Coach Goff can leave and take another great opportunity. I'm all for that. I mean, that's what McNeese should be. That's what we are. And there's some that, want to come here and they love it and that's okay too. But I want that to be an opportunity. I want to hire coaches that want to come in and make it better.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem at all. I think it's kind of refreshing to see it. It's just that you are in an NIL situation. He is a major portion of that NIL situation. So there's always that concern of, does that dry up when he leaves? So it puts a lot of pressure on you to get the next guy or the next group of coaches.
For sure. And look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the number one thing for me is being able to sustain success in fundraising, obviously, NIL, be able to sustain that, sustain our facilities growth. I mean, all those things, you can go to the grocery store today and a dozen eggs costs more than it did a year ago. So the price of doing business continues to go up. I put a lot of pressure on myself and my team to continue to drive fundraising because it's the only way we're going to be successful.
The price of winning.
That's right.
And now we get to see Gatsby. Oh, what a great week. We'll see you next week on Poke Nation.